All right, let's talk about something that occurs from time to time in business. We have some type of a product that we are manufacturing, and we have accounted for our total cost per unit. So we're going to say hypothetically that we have a cost of $8 per unit. All right, and for whatever it is we're making. And we normally wholesale that product for 12 bucks a unit. So our total cost is $8 and we have a 50% markup to 12. Okay. Now, someone comes along and they have an idea that they want to purchase a large volume of this product from us for $7 per unit, right? So the question becomes, should we accept that order? Now, at first glance, you're going to say, well, I wasn't born yesterday and my cost is 8 and you're offering me 7, so why would I do that? Well, because I told you that the total cost was 8. But now we're going to change the scenario around just a bit. And now I'm going to tell you that accounting for variable, mixed, fixed costs, the variable portion of that $8 is $5, and that the fixed portion of that $8 is $3. So that $3 has just been allocated to production based on volume, right? The fixed cost itself didn't change. So this goes back to the concept we talked about, relevant range. So now it looks like in this particular scenario, I might want to consider going ahead and saying, you know what? 7 is more than 5. So I want to do this. But before we make that decision, let's look at some qualitative factors that could change our minds. All right. So let's look here at question number 15. Okay. And it says, which of the following is not a relevant factor, because that's what we're talking about, relevant versus irrelevant, which is not a relevant factor in determining whether to accept an order at a special price. Okay? All right. So if we're looking for not a relevant factor, we are looking for an irrelevant factor. All right? Additional cost to be incurred. Well, let's just say sometimes a customer wants something with a certain specification, so that $7, right, that they're offering us, and then our variable cost is 5. We might end up incurring some additional cost if we accept their order, because there may be some other stipulations that come along with it. So additional cost to be incurred is absolutely relevant, so this is not going to be our answer. Fixed costs allocated to the order. Okay, the $3 is the fixed cost allocated to the order, right? And so that's going to be our answer. Fixed costs are not always irrelevant, but they are often irrelevant. So if a fixed cost is unavoidable, in other words, if it's going to occur anyway, then it doesn't matter. So let's just look at the rest of these real quick. It says, answer choice C, sales revenue from the special order. Well, of course we care about that. The 7 needs to be more than the 5, right? And then variable costs incurred by accepting the order. Well, that's the $5, right? So we do absolutely care about the $5 versus the $7. So C and D would cover both of those, and those are both relevant factors. So that makes B the answer. Okay, question number 16. It says, if a trucking company were operating at capacity, okay, this is important, but had an opportunity to fill a one-time high volume special order, which of the following ramifications could occur? Now, we talked about relevant range, and I believe it was in the last video we had a situation where We were selling 20,000 of something, but our capacity was 25,000. Okay, that's not the case here. We don't have numbers as to what capacity is, but whatever capacity is, we're operating at 100% of that level. So if we accept this high volume special order, what are the ramifications? Okay, lost revenues from regular customers. Absolutely, this is a true statement, because if we're already at capacity, anything we do on top of that, we're going to have to cut something else out. So there's something that we can't do. So think about what kind of cost that is. B, long-term revenue loss from customers who change service to competitors. Yeah, you can't fill my order. I'm going to have to go somewhere else. Questions from regular customers about commitment to service. Sure, absolutely. They order, they didn't get their stuff because you were too busy making this one-time special order that was very, very high volume. By the way, the fact that it's high volume means it's probably going to affect a lot of our customers. So really, in a way, we could say that they're going to start with questions about your commitment to service, and then when they don't get satisfactory answers, they're going to go to a competitor. So our answer here is going to be D, all of the above, because all of those things can absolutely happen. Question 17 says a company loses revenue from regular customers by accepting a special order when operating at capacity. Okay, so that's very, very similar to what we just had in the previous question. The loss of revenue just described is an example of which of the following. Okay, so I told you a minute ago this is a certain type of cost here, and what do you know? We have the question right here. Is it a revenue cost? Well, that's made up. That's not an actual term. Sunk cost, well, we haven't gone out and spent money on anything here. So it's not a sunk cost. However, it absolutely is an opportunity cost. We went with the special order for whatever reason, but we were operating at capacity, so we had to give up something, just like in question 16. The benefit that we gave up from selecting one alternative over another is an opportunity cost. All right, so let's look at question number 18. It says firms are more likely to accept a special order for one of their products at a reduced price if, okay, so why would we accept it? We've talked about ramifications and so forth, but why would we accept it at a reduced price if A, all costs are variable? Well, that's not the answer because it's simply just not possible. Okay, I don't have a problem with it if there was some way that that could happen, but that's simply not possible. Let's see here. Excess capacity exists. This is going to be our answer, guaranteed. So going back to that scenario in the previous video where we had the company that was operating at a capacity of they were operating at a volume of 20,000, but capacity was 25,000. Well, if somebody were to come in and say, I want to do a special order, I want 3,000 of these one time, for example, we could make those 3,000 and we're still within capacity. So we don't have to turn away any of our regular customers. So excess capacity, in the example that I just gave you, if we had 25,000 capacity and we're operating at 20,000 volume, we're at 80% capacity. We bump that up from 20,000 to 23,000, right? And then divide that by the capacity of 25,000, we're still at 92% of capacity. Now we're getting kind of close to 100% there, but we have not exceeded capacity. And if we don't exceed capacity, we can take the order, take the extra profit, and not exceed relevant range. So that means that we won't incur any additional fixed cost. Okay, so very, very important. The order is small. This is actually a potential reason to not accept it because it's just not worth our while. And then the buyer plans to compete in the markets of the firm's regular customers. Yeah, that's not going to go over very well with our regular customers. So let's say that we had excess capacity. Okay, we have the excess capacity, but this person that's not a regular customer is going to then compete with our customers. Well, I'll say this, if you do that, you better hope your regular customers don't find out. But here's the catch, they will. So B is definitely the answer. And then I want to turn the page here just for a moment. We've got one more that I want to do. And then we'll close this video out. Let's see here. We're going to get to all of these eventually. So question number 21 right up here. It says, which of the following reasons would cause a company to reject an offer to accept business at a special price? Okay. So why would we potentially reject this? It says the additional sales will not conflict with regular sales. Okay, so that was just the scenario that we had. We had excess capacity, so it's not going to conflict with regular sales. So this would be, if this is true, if A is true, we're going to go ahead and accept the offer. At least that's where we would start leaning towards. B, the additional sales will increase differential profit. That's exactly what we're trying to have happen. We want more profit. We want to increase profit, period. Okay, so that's not the answer. The additional sales will not increase fixed expenses. This is usually the case, and therefore it is not a reason to reject an offer because nothing changed, right? Our fixed costs were the same. If we accept the order, we can actually allocate those fixed costs to more units rather than fewer units, and that's what we always want to do. So that must mean D is correct. The additional sales will increase fixed expenses. Exactly. So if we, what do you say, what fixed expenses? Well, I don't know. It could be, we have to incur more insurance costs, maybe plant supervision. It can be any type of fixed expense that we incur as a result of exceeding relevant range. So D is going to be our answer, and we will come back here in a moment and we will look at some special price type questions that actually put some numbers behind it, and we're going to pick out the relevant versus irrelevant facts in those questions. Okay, thanks for watching.